There's so much more to who anybody is than what you see.
When you're in a safe environment, you're encouraged to be who you are and be in that flow.
So-and-so that I live with, my partner, my husband, whatever, they haven't accepted me. And so how can I accept myself?
There's deep-rooted secrets that are going to come out in this episode. Women are such givers. That's what I love about affirmations specifically for women, is it gives to women.
You create your safe place. That's where it starts.
Yes. You guys, I was a pro at shaming the business. Yeah, I wasn't worthy to have a good business. And so I always would just point out all the flaws. I am meant to receive good things.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Seth, and this is The Forever Young Show. The most powerful force in this world is a woman who knows who she is, why she is here, and what she wants to accomplish.
And that's where self-care comes in. As a woman, it is my opportunity and my responsibility to take care of me.
Self-care for your mind.
Self-care for your body.
Self-care for your money.
Our mission is to serve women as they fulfill their irreplaceable roles in families, society, business, the fabric of humanity.
So let's get this show on the road. I love this little self-description that you sent us. Yeah, there's just this very concise, very I know who I am kind of a feeling. And I'm going to read the first sentence, and I'm going to let Steph, because I know she's going to go off on about all those things. Because as soon as she read this, by the way, Ashely, she texted me and she said,
I could go travel with her.
Yeah, I'd get out with this girl, right? I'm like, you girls would be great. You girls,
we would have so much fun.
You would have a ton of fun. So this is how Ashely Shepherd describes herself. I am an American woman. Okay, you just had me at that. I was like, whoa, hello.
I know.
Boom. Yeah. I don't know. There's something, I don't want to get too, I might wax a little poetic, but there's just a feeling, just so much depth, especially considering where we are in world history and in our national history. And so many people running around not really fully understanding their identity or walking around with a false identity, right? But groping for something, or probably reaching for something inside. I'm an American woman trying to navigate the challenges of being a wife, mother, and business owner.
I love to travel, go fishing, and eat delicious food. Am I talking about Ashely or me? One challenge that we have is, Seth loves fishing, and some of his best friends absolutely love fishing too. So, they used to go once a year together.
To a special place, right?
And they wouldn't bring the wives. And I'm like, why can't I go? I want to go fishing. I want to know where the special place is. But none of the wives go fishing. I'm like, so I get punished because none of their wives want to go fishing? Explain that one to me.
I know. Oh, you got to get new friends. Just kidding.
Well, I got to. Yeah. We'll just say this. This only becomes a heated issue with lots of emotions flying around whenever we talk about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because number one, I'm his wife. I should know where he's going.
100% agree.
If I ask, I should be able to know. And number two, it became a huge issue when one year they allowed their sons to come. And I'm like, so now we'll open the door for the sons to come, but the wife still can't know.
That's right.
Ooh, like, this is not cool.
Can of worms.
Right? Right?
Oh, I love it.
Anyways.
I'm already feeling it.
So yes, fishing is one of my love languages. I love it.
Yeah.
Favorite places to fish?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so the best trip I ever took was to Canada. Ooh. So long story short, I had booked this exclusive fishing trip. It was my aunt and uncle and me and Brady. We had booked this fishing trip. They take you on a bush plane. They drop you off on a private lake for 7 days. No cell phone service, no bathrooms, nothing. You have a little cabin and you have 2 little motorboats that you can travel this lake with. You have to pack in all your own food, all your own supplies, everything. And I was so excited to go on this fishing trip. And about a month before we were going to go, Brady's best friend drew an elk tag, and it was once in a lifetime.
Oh.
And I could tell that Brady was like going back and forth and back and forth. And this specific friend, like his dad's passed away and he doesn't have a brother that he hunts with, and Brady's his best friend. And I knew that it was important for Brady to go on this hunt with this friend. And so I said, you know what? You're going to stay home, but I'm not. I'm not staying home. And so Brady ended up staying home, and I took our oldest son, Remy, who was 12 at the time. It was the greatest memory we've ever made. And it was kind of just one of those times where I was like, this is how it was supposed to be. I needed to like make those connections, and I needed this time with my oldest son with nobody else around, no cell phones, no nothing. And he talks about it all the time. When I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? What vacation? He's like, I want to go back to Canada. Oh. And so it was the greatest like fishing. I will have to send you guys pictures, because we were catching these northern pike that were anywhere from 37 to 42 inches long. And just like we could barely hold him up when we got him in the boat. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yes, it does.
So,
and meant to be.
It was awesome.
And meant to be.
Oh,
and,
totally.
I mean, I can feel for Brady. I mean, I know, like that feeling, but I think the classic part of the story is like, hey, you can stay. I'm going, babe. Like I'm going to Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I wasn't going to lose out on the fishing or the money.
Yeah.
Amen.
So I was like, I'm going.
So true.
You speak about travel.
Mm-hmm.
We're planning a road trip to Alaska with our youngest daughters. You know, once these current 2, you know, at 18 and 20 are out of the house, which is
soon
imminent. We want to do a summer in Alaska on a road trip, Utah to Alaska for 60 to 90 days, and just drive it, get up there to the Kenai Peninsula and beyond, and shrimp and fish and camp.
Anyways,
that sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it really does.
I love it.
In fact, the girls keep asking, so when are we going to Alaska? When are we going to Alaska? So it'll be fun.
And those girls is like their mama.
Yes, they
are. They
are.
love to fish.
Oh, I thought you meant sweet and spicy.
Oh, I think
that too.
Now, tell me. We're down. You're your family's horse people. You can appreciate that. So tonight we were down at in our arena riding, and the girls have a trainer who comes in as well and teaches. They're prepping for barrels and poles and whatnot. And so we got this brand new. We got a 10-year-old Mustang, another Mustang from the wild herds. But he's trained, awesome horse. And we were riding tonight, and I was on the ground, and Hannah's over there doing whatever she's doing. She's doing great. And Ruth's taken this horse who she's only known like 3 days, but it's now her favorite horse. Like she is bonded with this animal, only slightly less than I've bonded. And, and he's like, why does he like to follow you around, Dad? I'm like, well, because he loves me. Like I'm connected and bonded. She's like, well, if I ride him more, will he love me too? And so it was this sweet moment. This is where the sweet part of the sauce comes in, like this super sweet, tender moment. And then we had a little miscommunication. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I asked her to do this or that or whatever. And then all of a sudden she just turns that horse and walks away from me. Turns that horse, walks away from me. And I'm like, what is going on? She's like, I'm upset with you. And I'm like, I'm upset. I'm like, well, why are you? I'm upset with you because you said you were going to do this and then you did this. Kind of like, I'm like, and you are 6 years old, girl.
I know. Oh, man.
Heaven help us. It's like sweet and sassy, but rooted in Jesus.
Yep. It's the way we'll take them. That's the best ones.
It's true. True. So Ashely, what's your favorite food?
Oh, I think that's like a really challenging question because so I'll give you a little backstory of like why food is so deeply rooted in actually who I am.
Mm.
And when I was a junior in high school, I tried out for a choir that I like actually thought I wouldn't make because I can't sing. I have a really raspy voice, obviously. And so I don't sing well. But I love music. And so all my friends were trying out for this like prestigious women's choir. And so I tried out, and I think the teacher just liked me and I made it. And so, because I legit can't sing, you guys. Like I try, but my range is maybe like 3 or 4 notes. And if it's out of that, I'm out. And
But doesn't
so
Adele have
part
kind of a
this-
raspy voice?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey, listen, like you and Adele, like don't sell yourself
You know
short.
what? Thank you for comparing us. You know what? It's great. And so part of this like choir group thing that I was in was there was this group of girls that we decided we wanted to get together on Sunday nights, and we wanted to make a difference in our school. And so we would pick different kids in our school, and they weren't even like our friends per se. Some of them were, but like we would just pick these random kids at school, and we would go to their house on Sunday nights. They didn't know. And we would knock on the door and we'd be like, "Oh, hey, Johnny, do you care if we sing a couple songs to you?" And they're like, "Okay." And so I'd be like, "Oh, like I brought a plate of cookies, or I brought a plate of brownies," or whatever it was that week. So we'd go into these homes and we would give them treats, and we would sing 2 or 3. Typically there were songs about Jesus, some type of hymn or some type of church song or whatever it was. And we would sing these, and then we would leave. Like we're talking 10 minutes up, like max. And we would do 3 of those houses every Sunday. I did this my whole junior and senior year.
Wow.
And I realized in that moment that like not only can music bond people, that's a whole other like subject, but there was something that brought me so much joy when I always made the treat, no one else. When I made this treat and I showed up at someone's house. And then I kind of like became known as like the cookie lady at school. Like people would be like, "Oh, have you ever had Ashley Erickson's like cookies? Like she makes the best cookies, or she makes the best." And then like people would argue like, "No, the Oreo ones are best. No, the peanut butter ones are best. No," like, and that's like who I became to like my peers, was like, I brought them treats. And it brought me this level of fulfillment that I had never felt before.
Mm.
And granted, like I was a straight A student. I was a 4.0 student. I was the basketball MVP. Like I had all the things that any, high school kid would want going for them. And there was nothing that brought me as much joy as being in someone's home, giving them some type of food item. And so I feel like to say like, "Oh, what's your favorite food?" It would be so hard for me to say because I don't even know. I think every food brings a different kind of like love and joy and experience. That's what I love about it. I love trying new things. And I also love the comfort of my grandma's recipes.
Mm.
So like the two polar opposites bring me this same amount of like joy and fulfillment. And it's like, it really is like what I'm passionate about. I love it. I love it so much. Food is the gate to anyone's soul. It is. Like I've never had somebody that has disliked me, or somebody that I've hurt, or somebody that I don't know turn me away from their doorstep if I have something in my arms to give them. And I think that is the most beautiful thing, is it can break down any barrier, any wall, anything. It just softens the human heart. It does. And it's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So That's what I love about it.
I should have expected you to give something so deep, but I wasn't expecting it.
Oh,
yeah, I've come to enjoy cooking for others or starting to learn, baking and stuff. I used to be like, this is how good of a baker I was when I was married the first time. And
wait, you were married again before?
yeah.
You do an episode with a girl and you find out that she actually had another husband. Like, we're always finding new things out on the show.
There's deep-rooted secrets that are going to come out in this episode.
So I would make, what was I making? I think cookies or maybe one day I made some banana bread or something. Granted, I got married super young. It was like 2 weeks before my 19th birthday. So, by the time I had these kids, I was in my early 20s. And I just remember our 20-year-olds who back then, I think she was like 3. And one day I had made some banana bread and I overheard her eat it. And she goes, "Oh, my mom can bake." I was like, "What about all the cookies and other things that I've made?" And she was like, "Well, Daddy makes the cookies and you make the bread now." I'm like, "What?"
Oh, I love it. I love it. See, and you remembered that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like created like a core memory for you.
Totally.
And not like over food. That's what I love about it so much. It does.
Yes.
It creates this like deep connection that can bind people forever. I could tell you so many times like, oh, this person brought me this or that person brought me this. Like, because it connects us in the most beautiful way that like you don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
It creates an emotion that is so long lasting. I don't know. I love it.
Yes. So speaking of that, I know I've brought this up to you before, but I just remember, we go to church together, and I remember one week that the Women's Relief Society group, was talking about friends. And do you remember when they did like the glove thing where like you pulled a glove out of the basket and then whoever matched, that was your friend for the week and you're supposed to do something for them?
Oh, I don't even remember this.
It was years ago.
It's because it wasn't a glove made out of food. It was just a cloth garment.
The cloth didn't bind me to anybody.
So anyways, you and I did not get matched, but one question that they asked us in this class was, I want you to think about something that you need this week. And I want you to write it down on your paper. And so I wrote it down. And then they said, okay, now find the person that has the matching glove and discuss what you need. And so I was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? This was like so private at the time. And honestly, it was just that I needed a friend. I remember thinking, I don't think that sister, I don't think she reached out to me or whatnot, but you did. You came by that week and brought me one of your amazing chocolate chip cookies. And it was just, you randomly showed up on the door, even though I know it wasn't necessarily random. You didn't know that I needed that friend, but you were listening to that Holy Spirit tell you that Stephanie needs a cookie and a smile from me today. And that has impacted me ever since. You can't see it, but I am getting emotional because it was an answer to my prayers. It was what I needed.
What's really interesting about that is I think that kind of thinking of femininity as a whole and what women struggle with a lot is we all lack a sense of purpose at times. And I think there's ebbs and flows of this, but I think feminine energy is so beautiful when we tap into it because it is all of the good things that God created women to have. And part of that is to be able to care and look out for other women. And so I so many years, and this is actually what I'm kind of going through right now, this weird transition is my whole life and my whole purpose was rooted in food. I built, a great company with food. And so I felt like that was everything and anything that I had to offer the world. But I also thought that it was the only thing that I had to offer the world. And so I think something that women really need to think about is the talents that we have they are talents. I'm not taking that away from any woman. But it's not who we are. It's what we do. Those talents are what we do. And so if we were to like remove those talents, then who are you? And I think that is like the deeper question is I eliminated a company that I had owned and run and built for 15 years last November. And I lost my identity. And it was heartbreaking because I felt like everything that I had like given to the world and anything that I had to give to the world, I just let go. And so if I didn't have any of that, like if I didn't have these titles and I didn't have this amazing income and I didn't have like the popularity of running all of this, then who was I? And for so many months, and I'm still like trying to figure this out. I definitely have not healed. I've learned a lot, but I'm still in this healing process of what do I have to offer then? And who am I? And why would anybody want to be my friend now? And it seems like so irrational. Like when I'm a very rational thinker. So when we have this narrative in our mind that we only have one thing to offer a friend, a community, a family, like whatever that is, when we think that like, oh, I don't have this anymore, then we have to change this narrative of like, what is it about me that attracts other people? And through like, just honestly, like I've had to ask Brady, I've had to ask other family members and close friends, like, do you actually like me? And if you do, like, I legit don't know why, because I don't know why anyone would like me. And to them, like, that's a silly question. But when I get to be able to speak to women that are really close to me, they're actually like, oh, I have felt this before. I have felt like nobody wants to be my friend. I have felt like there's nothing good about me, or I have felt like I have nothing to offer, or I have no purpose. And so just your story, it can remind all women that we don't have to have all these amazing talents or abilities or professions or titles, whatever you want to call it. We don't have to have any of that to impact the one, like the one person that just needs you to show up at their door. That actually requires nothing except like a simple, kind gesture that like completely changed someone's like day. And so I don't know, I didn't know that. So I really appreciate you. And that's a great reminder to me that we don't have to do these grand things to make an impact on other women. They can be so simple and so long lasting. We just need to make effort.
Definitely. It makes me think of whenever, you're commenting in these church classes that we have, whether it's Sunday school or Relief Society. And I feel really inspired anytime you open your mouth, whether it's the words that you're saying or the passion behind what you're saying. To me, you've always been very grounded. It's, sounding very grounded in who you are and what you're advocating. And that's always been really inspiring to me.
Yeah, I love that. What's also interesting is like when we think about what society, actually, I would say society, but I would also say like our families and ourselves, like what we do to women as a whole. I think that's where my rebelliousness comes from, actually. Like, I feel like I can pinpoint why I'm a rebel a little bit. And it's because society tries to keep women living in fear. It's $1 billion business. Fear of being overweight, fear of any type of aging. Heaven forbid someone have a wrinkle or a gray hair. Like, they keep women living in fear, and they do it with billions and billions of dollars. that is spent on all of these campaigns, right? To make us feel like you're never going to be skinny enough. You're never going to be pretty enough, and you're never going to be young enough. So continue to like buy into all these things. And I had the most incredible thing happen to me after I had my second son. So this would have been almost 13 years ago. And I went to this big, like women's organization, like meeting. Okay. A big women's meeting. And the woman that was speaking is world renowned. Like, she's so great. Everyone thinks she is wonderful. And she is. Like, I love her. And I had never met her before. And it was 2 weeks after I had my son. Any woman who has ever had a child knows what they feel like 2 weeks after. Like, let's be for real. We're not on our physical A game. Okay.
No.
And so I really didn't want to go, but I was like, oh, she's really going to give like an amazing, thought presentation, whatever. So I ended up going. I'll have to send you the picture because I got a picture with this woman, and she was nice and she was great. And I loved her, and she had an amazing like aura and energy about her. And when she gets up to speak, she's like, I just met a woman who is just radiating, and she is so beautiful. And she was like, Ashely, will you please stand up? And I was like, don't you dare make me do this. Like, I was so mad in that moment. Like, there's so many beautiful women here. And in my head, the narrative I had was, I'm 40 pounds overweight. I barely have any makeup on. My face is so round because I had just, had this baby. And I was in the most frumpy clothes, like anything that a woman could think of that is just not ideal. That was me in that moment. And she's like, stand up. And so I was like, she was looking right at me. She like found me in the crowd, and I was like, oh, I have to stand up. So I stood up, and everyone's just like looking at me. And so I'm like, okay. So I like sit back down, and then she goes on to talk about like inner beauty. And she talks about like why people are drawn to us. And it's because of a confidence that comes within. And it's not actually an external confidence. It's not what you look like. It's not how much you weigh. It's not how many wrinkles you have. And I think about, if a like hot girl walks by, even a woman notices. Like, even I can appreciate a hot girl, okay? Like, I can appreciate someone's I can appreciate someone's like outer beauty for sure. But does that mean necessarily that I want to like be around her and hang around her and like make her be one of my friends? Maybe. I don't know. I've got some hot friends. But I think that like when you really genuinely think about the people that you love to associate with, it is something so much deeper. It's something about their energy and their spirit that is so full of light that you're like, I have to be around those people. And she taught me that 12 years ago, that it's fine to take care of yourself. Like it actually, we need to take care of our spirits, our bodies, our minds. Like, it is all encompassing, but it is so detrimental when we as women think that we need to be something that we're not, nor that we ever will be. And for so many years, I refused to wear shorts. I had a narrative in my head that I have short, chubby legs. That's the truth. That's not false. That is true. But I told myself because of that, I was not allowed to wear shorts. I wasn't worthy to wear shorts. And so I didn't. And last year, because I was like changing all these other weird things in my life, I was like, you know what? Why can't I wear shorts? Like, I'm going to do it. And so I started wearing shorts, and I was like, there is something so freeing about this. When we put off the expectations of society, or sometimes it happens even like when we're young. I know a lot of women, like, they get shamed from a young age from their own parents, from their own siblings, and it creates a lot of damage that they have to work through for the rest of their lives. or a boyfriend or an ex-husband, like whatever it is. And it is constant work and constant change emotionally to change that way of thinking. Mm-hmm. And I think that the more that women defend and stick up for inner beauty, the more that we can create communities that build women, that say like, no, that actually is false. No one ever said you have to be this way. My body is never going to be a size 0. I'm not going to try to make it be a size 0. That's not realistic. We have so many unrealistic expectations that women constantly feel like failures. And it is not true. It's lies. It is lies that we tell ourselves to keep us from progressing. Mm-hmm. And so the more that we seek truth and we identify truth, the easier that the lies are apparent and we can identify those and label them for what they are and push them aside. And I think that's been the greatest thing for me is like, wait, I didn't even know these were lies in my head. I just thought I thought it was truth. I thought that like, if you didn't have skinny long legs, you like weren't supposed to wear shorts. Yeah. Like, and the funny thing is like, no one ever told me that. I didn't have like any friends or family that was like, oh, you should not wear shorts. It was just something in my head because what I see on TV, what I see in magazines, what I see in Instagram tells me differently.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think identifying those things, we can in return, like identify what are the things that like actually make me beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it's so internal. It has actually very little to do with external things. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that was like my rant.
I love it. I was here for it. Amen. I mean, I've been down that same road. I do have longer legs, but I've had spider veins on my legs since I was at least a teenager or sooner. And, they haven't gotten better. And so for a long time, that or putting on weight and then not losing it or any of that, I'm like, oh, I really, I'm just embarrassed. I can't go out in shorts. So, I'd bear the heat in pants until finally I was like, who cares? And some of it I will say is my husband is very good at validating who I am. And then just telling me that, the external part of me is just the cherry on top of who I am.
You're talking about current husband, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I was back in the narrative.
Wait, I'm still in this, right? Oh, I love it. I love it.
When we hold the Forever Young Women's Conference, this woman's speaking.
Heck yeah.
You just caught
I don't know.
You just caught the first keynote, the first half of our keynote from Ashely Shepherd. My goodness, I was sitting on the edge of my seat saying, wow.
Well, now you know why. Like anytime I hear, I remember going to girls' camp and being like, I need to be her friend.
Oh, that was so long ago.
It was. I was just blown away by who you are and what you were sharing. And I'm like, every girl needs to hear this. Every woman needs to hear this and feel, just your love and how genuine you are.
I think another important note on that same thing is like, it's important for women to know that having confidence doesn't eliminate insecurity. Because I am a very confident person. And I think people are like, oh, well, nothing's wrong with her. She has it all together all the time. And I think it's really important that as we develop confidence, that it also doesn't eliminate insecurity, that there is both, because people that are insecure and they have insecurities. Mm-hmm. And then you have people that are confident and people look at them and say, well, they don't have any insecurities. And it's like, no.
They graduated,
that's
right?
That's not true. It's actually not true. They're just working, they have found an inner peace with like, okay, I'm okay with who I am, but I would still like to change this, this, and this.
Yes, absolutely.
So, confidence doesn't eliminate insecurity.
I love that. So recently I was listening, I think it was a podcast, and this person was talking about some statistics on if you were to sit down a group of women and talk to them about loving themselves and ask them who truly loves themselves right now. Do you love who you are? And I can't remember the exact percentage, but it was, I want to say between 70 or 80% would say no. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've been on such a healing journey. And how I knew that was because immediately I was like, yeah, I love myself. And I was like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it also made me really sad, to think about all those women, and made me want to go out and,
record another podcast. And that's where we invited Ashely Shepherd. We're like, hey, who's that next guest? And literally Steph's like, I know who we can call.
Oh.
Let's call Ashely Shepherd.
Yes.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. I wish they would, and maybe they did, but I wish they would have asked a deeper question to those women. Like, do you like your physical self, emotional self, and do you like your internal self? Those are very different. I think when people, if people were to say like, oh, well, I am a nice person. I am a kind person.
Mm-hmm.
I am a giving person, whatever those qualities are. If people were able to like express who they are, I think the rate actually would have been higher. See, but that's not what women are taught. They're taught that if they don't look a certain way, they can't be loved, that love's conditional. And we've got to change that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the global answer, right? The global answer is the one answer, right? And because I'm not meeting all of these other things externally, and again, this is so rooted in habit, in repeated environment, in history, meaning your own personal history, right? And I'll say the subconscious, right? Which that baseline program that's running based on all of that experience and program we've received. Yeah, if we don't piece those out and identify where we feel we're strong and maybe where we don't, then we give one global answer, which is, no, I don't love myself because so-and-so that I live with, my partner, my husband, whatever, right? My family, my parents, they haven't accepted me. And so how can I accept myself? And one of the beautiful things you're bringing to this conversation, Ashely, is getting a little vulnerable with us and showing, listen, I remember when you said several months ago, and I'd forgotten that you actually sold your amazing catering business. You sold it like everything, like the building that's one of the coolest buildings, most beautiful.
It is gorgeous
buildings. Like not to mention the creative.
I still own the building.
Okay.
I didn't sell the building.
And now
that stayed.
Beautiful. But you sold the inner workings, at least at least currently for your catering business.
Yeah. Yes. So going back to the global thing, and how it starts in our home is, you think of the ways that our parents were taught and our grandparents were taught and how it bleeds through these generations. It's that hurt people. And so when you already have a sick person emotionally, or a hurt person emotionally, they tend to hurt others emotionally. Whether that's lack of education or lack of change, whatever you want to say, it is what it is. And I think the greatest lie that has ever been told to a human is that they don't deserve to be happy. And I think anyone who has ever walked this earth has experienced what that feeling is like, that I don't deserve happiness. And so then we start to question all of these things around us. And it makes me think of a time when we had built these companies to a place that like I actually didn't even know was possible. And I remember just feeling like, I don't deserve any of this. I'm not a good person. I don't deserve wealth. I don't deserve happiness. I don't deserve success. Like, this is meant for everybody else, but I'm not supposed to have this, I think the challenging piece of that is then we start to shame everything around us. And I was so good, you guys. I was a pro at shaming the business. I would be like, oh, but like, yeah, the business, when someone would be like, hey, how's business? How's catering? I'd be like, oh, it's going good, but I don't know. Like, we make a lot of mistakes. So we messed up on that last wedding last week. And like, it's like I had to downplay the business. I would shame the business because if I was proud of it and I expressed how great it was doing, then somehow, I don't know, like it's this weird.
You weren't worthy. You didn't feel worthy.
Yeah, like I wasn't worthy to have a good business. And so I always would just like point out all the flaws. Every business has flaws. And so I was like, oh, but this, oh, but that, oh, but this. So I did a lot of research actually on imposter syndrome. And what's really interesting about it was actually created and became a thing because of women entrepreneurs. And because they were really fighting to fit in a man's world. And so they weren't ever going to be as good as a man. And so they would have these like self-shaming episodes where they were never going to be good enough. They didn't deserve it. They weren't worthy of success, all these things. And then they find research that, is like, wait, this isn't just actually women. This happens in men too. And so now it's not focused just on women, but it happens, in men and women. And it goes back to this like deeply rooted lie that is told to all humans on this earth that we don't deserve to be happy in whatever it is. Some people, I'm in the business world. And so that's why it showed up for me in a business sense. But I know so many women who thrive and are incredible stay-at-home mothers who think like, I don't deserve 6 healthy children. I don't deserve to be able to stay home with my children while my husband goes to work. Like imposter syndrome can show up in so many aspects of our lives. And what the deeply rooted cause, like I said, is this feeling of we're unworthy of happiness. And that is the biggest freaking lie ever told. But if we can stay trapped in that state, then we can't progress because we just go in this vicious cycle of just shame, doubt, fear, shame, doubt, fear. And like we can't ever escape it. And so we can't ever experience, like true happiness. And so it's been like a learning experience, but I've realized that pain and joy are meant to coexist. They really are. And they don't contradict each other. They complement each other. And they were designed that way. I think they were divinely created that way for us to navigate those emotions. So, yeah. Have you ever experienced that, Seth?
Imposter syndrome or being a woman?
Stephanie? I mean, either.
Well, we said that something was going to be revealed here.
I know. I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, I think you take that one first.
Yeah, like, have you ever felt imposter syndrome where you were like, I'm not worthy or deserving of something so good, whatever it is? Like, it's not always associated with money and success. It's associated with anything that just brings you so much fulfillment and love and joy that you're like, wait, I can't love this too much because something bad's going to happen. It's going to get ripped away from me.
Oh yeah. I definitely have felt that before. Even honestly, even just, I shouldn't say just because it's not just, but even this beautiful marriage that we have, for a long time. And honestly, here and there, sometimes that might slip in, it's like, looking at you, I like started to like get all choked up. Just even when I was working with a therapist, I think like 4 years ago, and I was like, why do I have such a fear of death? And he brought up a couple things. And one of them was because your marriage is so good that now you don't want that to end. You don't want to be separated from your spouse. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think that could really be it. I don't know if it's the whole thing, but a huge part of it. And so, there have been times where I have felt like, wow, he's so good to me. He's so good to me. What have I done to deserve this? And
Yeah.
I've had to come to a place that, well, I deserve it because of who I am, because God loves me and he brought us together. And this is a beautiful gift from God that I need to cherish and not question. So that's one example.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. But that's real. So many women can relate to that and experience that same like thief, that just comes in the night and wants to steal the joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the scripture, men and women they exist that they might have joy. Period. Like that.
Yeah.
That is powerful. And I love the way that you put this, Ashely. Like the biggest flippin' lie that was ever told, right? Is that, that I don't deserve happiness. And, I remember I've always been pretty ambitious. But at the same time, playing that game and that internal game inside where like, am I really worthy though? Right? Like, am I really enough? Am I worthy of this? Am I good enough? I was kind of a late bloomer. So I kind of I was never the kid walking around campus who everybody's looking like that. Look at that stud, right? They were like, he's a nice boy.
He's nice.
We can relate
one day.
Yeah. We can relate.
He's cute. He's a cute, funny boy. But I like being confident in my masculinity really was, goodness, like I think I finally learned that last week. But I remember building our business. I remember years ago going to the bank with the largest deposit I had ever made. And it was multiples of, in a month, I received this check this month of what I used to make in a year. And it was a great feeling, by the way. I remember going to the bank and depositing that and feeling like, wow, that's amazing. And it was well earned. It was deserved and earned. And it was like the best, like one of the best like reward days in my entrepreneurial career. Worst day, the next day, because fear crept in. Like, what if I lose this? What if I lose this? Like, okay, what if, by the way? Okay, great. Yeah. Today I can say, damn it, I'm going to go build it again. Right. I know who I am. I am worthy of this. But at that day, and boy, that was 15 plus years ago, 16 years ago. Wow. That next day was really tough because I was full of fear. What if I lose this? Because I'm not worthy. Right. I just got here. And so, that is the heart of why we do this show, is this message. In fact, one of our recent shows, we met with an incredible entrepreneur and we had such an alignment with her because in our business, literally, we work with entrepreneurial women all over the world. And we have a business app and coaching on this app where you dial into self-affirmations, right? And you listen to these statements about yourself. And then Karen Hanlon sends us this little placard. Sorry, am I putting it in front of here? No. Last time I just put it in front of Steph's face, but I'm just going to read these because these are at the heart, Ashely, of exactly what you're talking about, and she has an entire self-expression, artistic approach to therapy, anxiety, etc. People in hospice care, and she, along with an entire kit, she sends them this placard, and it says, "I am enough. I am strong. I can do this. I am proud of who I am. I am beautiful inside and out. I choose to see the positive. I am grateful for the gifts in my life. I achieve my goals. I don't want to hug it. Do you want to?
I am compassionate and creative. I deserve peace. I am a gift. I am confident. I am blessed. I follow my heart. I look after myself. Creativity flows through me with ease.
Oh, I love that. And in I have like affirmations, for myself. And in terms of the imposter syndrome, for like 30 days straight, I would wake up and I would say in the mirror, I am meant to receive good things. Mm. And women are such givers. They are nature. That's our nature. Yeah. And so we give to, our partners and to children if we have them. If not, we give to our jobs. Sometimes we give to both, to our friends, to our neighbors, to our community, to our parents and our siblings, and give. And I think one of those, that's what I love about affirmation specifically for women, is it gives to women. Mm. When you say affirmation, it is giving to yourself, nobody else. You're not saying, Seth is creative. Seth is loving and kind. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying that when we say these affirmations, they become a gift to ourselves. And it is that moment or that, 5 minutes of, no, I am these things. I am giving light to myself. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest one for me, was I am meant to receive good things. And all of those things that you read are good things. Like, I am meant for all of those things. Mm-hmm. And so I love that. I love positive affirmations. Michael Phelps, I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen his thing on like Instagram? Mm-hmm. He was interviewed and he said, if I could tell people only one thing as they're learning to be incredible athletes, he said something that changed the way that I viewed myself was a coach or a trainer. I don't know who it was, but they told him that every time you walk through a doorway, say one positive affirmation about yourself. Mm. And he said, do you know how many doorways you walk through a day? Yeah. And so, I mean, he is, undeniable, the greatest swimmer that's ever lived so far. And so to hear just like a very simple thing that can train our brains and our minds to think in a way that is so positive about ourselves, like I've tried it ever since then. I'm like, okay, I walk through a doorway. I am this, I am that, and it is incredible that like you do walk through a lot of doorways in a day. And so it's a lot of positive things that are coming through that brain. So yeah, that's one thing for the listeners. Every time you go through a doorway, Michael Phelps says, say a positive affirmation.
That's good.
Well, and I love your affirmation. We do a lot of affirmations. I mean, Steph trained on this when we were in Asia last year to hundreds of women. And it was emotional. It was powerful to see, after her keynote and her training, the discussions, that's where the good stuff is. It's always the conversations afterward. But I've never heard it put the way that you put it. And I think that's important. Yeah. Part of what's so powerful, I am meant to receive good things. Wow. That's on my, maybe I just needed that today.
That's funny. I was thinking the same thing, like, oh, I'm going to write that down.
What's so powerful about that is that you are giving to yourself. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to have affirmations and feedback from other people. But part of the reasons that we have so many of these problems is because we give up the driver's seat to our mind and our subconscious, to the programs, to the history, to our parents or whoever, right? Or the bullies in our life, right? The mean girls, right? And just the act of making that affirmation is taking the driver's seat for accepting your identity, who you are, and what you're going to do about it. That's probably, it's almost, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what you say, but that's important. But the act of taking that driver's seat in your mind, I am meant for good things. Say that, women say that if that one resonates with you this week, every time you walk through a door, say that one.
Well, something else that it made me think of was, I feel like it can be pretty hard for women to receive, to accept.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's such good training on how to receive and accept from others too.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. So, yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing, I don't know. I'm like, my mind is like going everywhere because you have so much wisdom and, like I've said, so much love and being so genuine and rooted in Jesus that I'm like, man, like women and girls all over the world should hear you. So, I'm grateful that you're on this podcast to do that. But have you ever thought about doing, like a mother-daughter retreat and teaching? Or
I know,
anything.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not like opposed to anything. I think my biggest thing is I always want to be real.
Mm-hmm.
And I always want people to know that like there's so much more to who anybody is than what you see.
Mm-hmm.
And so wherever I can advocate for that, that's where I'll be, because I've never met a person who I don't like when I really get to know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anyone would say that if they knew people and they knew their story and they knew why they were the way they were.
Yes.
And yeah, that's really the message, is everybody is capable of being loved.
Mm-hmm.
And either we put on a hard shell, which the majority of us do, right? We have all these scars and we cover them up and we make sure that no one can see any of the damage that's ever been done to this person. And we push people away and we say, I will love you from a distance. That's not real connection.
Mm-hmm.
Real connection is like showing who we really are and saying, I'm not perfect and I make mistakes and I fail and I'm continuing to learn and I'm continuing to grow and I'm continuing to like try to love my higher power, whatever that looks like in someone's life. And yeah, I will always be an advocate for that. And so wherever that path takes me, I am there. I'm there for it, girl.
Well, if you ever want to, collaborate and come up with something, it's always been a dream of mine to do little retreats or something.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It would be a lot of fun doing that for, I have a bunch of daughters. I feel like just watching them grow up right now, like my heart is really set on these girls and just trying to find all that I can to help, build our village and also to build our tools so that they can, have the most support and love and, just experience to help them be successful in life. So
speaking of affirmations, like
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
I was about to say epic fail, Dad. No, but I was like, okay, I got to go. Like we're in a show, girls. We have a little 6-year-old who can't sleep. I just can't go to sleep. So of course we tried let's say positive things about ourselves. I can, but I can't go to sleep. That's how it ended. And I said, okay, well, then if you say you can't, what's going to happen? Yeah, but what if I can't do it by the time you get up? You come back to tuck me in. I said, well, then I'll be awake then you'll be awake when I come in and we'll be happy about it. She's like, oh, okay. Like, don't sweat it. Don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff, babe.
Ashely, what are you most passionate about right now? And what are you doing about it?
I'm most passionate about, so I've never been a stay-at-home mother. And I've worked full-time for 13 years. And kind of walking away from some larger companies has allowed me to be home. And what I'm really passionate about right now is building my children's confidence and doing it in ways that teach my children that they don't need to be somebody else to fit in. They don't need to be somebody else to be liked. They don't need to be somebody else, to have confidence, like whatever that looks like. And I'm realizing that all these things that I've learned through business, through schooling, through whatever, I thought they left. I thought they left when my business left. And what I'm learning is I've taken all those tools that I've learned and now I'm implementing them into a family environment. And it's been the most beautiful thing. Like, my kids think I'm kind of cool sometimes. Like, wait, you know that, Mom? You know how to do this, this, and this? Or like, my oldest son is like, I really want to start this. And I'm like, well, then you need to come up with a business plan. Well, what's a business plan? Oh, well, you're going to show me this, this, and this. You're going to tell me, how much of an investment, what's going to be my ROI, this and this. And he's like, whoa, you know this? I'm like, well, what do you think? And so it's really cool to kind of spend this time like teaching them. I feel like I'm building like just beautiful, beautiful people in a way that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. And I haven't had that opportunity. And I'm really passionate about it for right now. And it's going to be a season. Like the selfish version of me loves business. I love it. I love it. And I'm still in it. I'm not like all the way out of business.
She owns the building, folks. She owns the building.
Yeah. So I'm not like completely out of it, but like to be home day to day, that's hard. If you've like been a full-time worker and you come home, oh man, that's hard. But I feel like I'm utilizing those skills in a different way, and it's just for a season. Mm-hmm. It's going to be this short season, and then it's going to be gone. And I want to cherish these moments, and I want to just build people that when they go out into the world, man, they've got the confidence to beat whatever tries to thrash them and tries to bring them down. And so, yeah, that's really what I'm most passionate about right now. And weddings, obviously, because I own the event center. I am passionate about that. So, yeah.
That feistiness. I'm not out of business. I own the building, folks.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say something.
I was going to, but then I saw just talking about, building up children made me think of, we've talked about imposter syndrome or body image, those types of things. And I think one of the biggest things that helped me with the body image issue was hearing somebody say, don't not be in the picture, just because the way you look. Like, your kids want you in your pictures. They're not going to look at the picture and pick you apart. They're going to be like, where's Mom? And I'm like, oh my goodness, do I do that? Okay. Yeah. Sometimes, I feel like I might, especially if I'm in a bathing suit or, shorts or something like that. And it's really helped me to put myself in their perspective of what they truly want and what they really care about.
What they value.
Which is, who am I?
Mom. Your mom. And that's who they love. Yeah.
Yes. Not just mom. Hopefully I'm security. Hopefully I'm their friends, like
You're
a whole
the
bunch.
Safe place.
Yes. Safe place.
Yes.
And that's really helped me to have a different perspective. That body image isn't everything. And also it made me think of, am I going to pass this down to my child? And if it's not something that I want to pass down to my child, then I need to be a better role model of not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who was saying?
My sister has a rule with her kids. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ashely.
Oh, I was going to say, my sister has a rule with her kids that I can't even remember where she learned, but she said, we're not allowed to say something to somebody if they can't change it in 30 seconds.
Mm.
And I think that's so powerful.
Yeah.
So if you have like your zipper down, I could say, hey, Steph, your zipper's down.
Yes.
Like you can change that in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But to say something unkind, like, oh, whatever it is, we can think of all the unkind things
You're
that
being
they're
a
not
brat.
allowed to change. Yeah,
Just for example.
like,
no, I'm thinking about that.
yeah.
Wow.
It's so true, though. Think of how many times I'm thinking of like raising kids that are kind.
Me too.
Right?
That's
like,
why I said that.
And it's like, hey, you don't tell someone like, you're ugly, you're fat, you have gross teeth, whatever, ugly hair, whatever it is, right? Like, they can't change that in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It should never be said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an awesome lesson that I feel like my sister has taught me and my children, that like, wait, you don't say that. That's not okay. They can't change that about themselves. So why would you even point that out?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good rule for kids.
Yes.
And do you know how many
and
things?
Adults, not just kids.
And adults. Actually, yeah. Hallelujah. Amen to that, Steph. You're right. Yes.
So who are some of the women who are some of the women in your life that have made a strong impression in your developing into this just incredibly strong woman yourself?
I do come from a strong line of opinionated women.
That be true.
It runs
that
deep.
be true.
So it is definitely like, it is in my DNA. I will tell you that. I have an incredible mother. I had incredible grandmothers and great grandmothers. Like it runs in my blood. And so obviously I have to give credit where credit is due. It was bred into me. It was also taught,
Mm-hmm.
But as I've like grown up and matured, I feel like I've had women who are opposite of me who have actually taught me the most about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're a red personality, you love reds and you're around reds, and reds understand you. And for the most part, you don't have emotion and you just say things like they are, and you're forward and you're like, let's get from A to B. Like, tell me what to do. Let's go. Snap my fingers. We're moving forward,
Come on, folks. Come on.
Yeah. Red personalities can be abrasive. They can be self-centered. They can be, prideful. And I'm not even saying a red personality is bad. I'm a red personality. I love red personalities. But I navigate life with blue personalities, which all of my closest friends, my best friends in life, they are all blue personalities. If that's a coincidence, I don't know, but that's the type of people that I'm attracted to. And, blue personalities are driven by intimacy. They're driven by connection, closeness.
Mm-hmm.
They really value things that are most important. I married a blue personality. Mm-hmm. And blue personalities keep me grounded. They keep me centered on the things that are most important. And because I have surrounded myself with those type of people, they help me be the best red version of myself. Mm-hmm. Because I'm able to see life in different perspectives. The way that my brain would think of something and the way that somebody else's would, it helps me it helps me just be grounded in who I want to be. And I don't know. One of the biggest influences in my life is Tiffany Buse. I don't know if you know her. But she was someone that completely changed my life. And we moved to Lakeshore, and I love it here. And I think it's a great community. It has taken time for me to love. And there's things I still absolutely don't like, but don't get me started on that. But
let's actually, I kind of want to go. I want to go down that road. We can edit that out.
And I just felt like when I got here, it was assumed that we would just fit in and that people would love us and people would visit us, and we were shepherds, and we were just going to be taken care of, and we didn't need help or whatever it was, right? Like that's just like the communal understanding if you moved to Lakeshore and you're a shepherd. And I just remember like those first, like, I don't know, 18 months being like, this is where my husband wanted to like live and die. And I hadn't lived on a farm. You might want to edit this out. I don't know. Maybe not. Good. Actually, I don't care. It's the truth. It's how I feel. It's real.
Yeah, this is the rebel in her. She's gonna have her piece. Like this is it's like she's not gonna.
It's not just necessarily the rebel. It's just being genuine.
It's just my truth.
It's being real.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And so, and no one did any. Let me back up. No one has done anything that's been like hurtful. Like it was more just like this understanding that we were supposed to be fine and dandy here. And the day that we moved into Lakeshore, I lost our fourth baby. And no one knew. And so I was just here, and I didn't like really know who to call or who to turn to or anything. My in-laws are like the greatest in-laws you could ever ask for. So I had them, but not like a friend. And I remember Tiffany Buse randomly came to my house. I didn't even know her. Like I had seen her at church and was like, oh, what a sweet, nice lady. But like had never met her husband. And at the time I was like, he kind of like scared me. I wasn't quite sure like who he was because he's like this big, broad guy, So I was like, I don't really know these people, but I was attracted to her. Like something about her felt safe and felt like just really comforting. And long story short, she showed up at my house one day and was like, hey, I know that like you might need help here. Could I just take I had 3 little kids at the time. Could I take your little kids? Like, so you could just have a minute or whatever. And I was like, well, you're a stranger, but you know what? Sure. Take my kids. Like, I think I was so desperate that like, I just needed somebody. And that would have been, let's see, the baby, she would have let her, I'm trying to think. It was just the 4th of July. So how old's Bear? 9. So that was 9 years ago. So that would have been, 9 years ago. And, from that day on, her and her husband, Chad, have been, I dare say, besides my parents and my in-laws, like, ooh, they might be the most influential people in my life. Like, they have shaped a big portion of just who I am. And Tiffany she just does all the things that I want to be. Like she is everything that I want to be. She is so selfless. She thinks of others. She wants to do what's right. She follows like these promptings from the Spirit so beautifully. Like she's just everything that is so opposite of what I thought I was, that she's helped me realize that like I'm those things too. Like she's still, even to this day, she's like, Ashely, stop saying that you're that. You're not that. You're this, this, and this. And so, I think besides my family, because of course they influenced me and I love them dearly, but I would say it's got to be Tiffany Buse for me. Wow. Yeah. She's a beautiful soul.
Well, I agree with her. I think you are all of those things. So, I was thinking that while you were saying it. I'm like, well, I thought she was.
I felt like we got a side of Ashely that I don't want to say I've never seen, but we got the full benefit of the package, right? Like we've been at the women's conference and like,
it's true.
Wow.
It's true.
Oh, so, you guys are awesome.
So you say you're a red, and I love how positive you are about being red, because a lot of times, at least, in my life that I've seen people I've been around, it's not necessarily a positive thing. Even reds thinking, no, I'm not a red because that's not a good thing. In reality, a healthy red is absolutely amazing.
The world wouldn't survive without reds.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It wouldn't. Like, and so it can be a very beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I don't know. I love it.
What do you think your next dominant color personality is? So
yeah,
red.
I already know, actually. The guy Taylor Hartman developed the color code.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Taylor Hartman is actually a really good friend of mine.
Really?
And he was my therapist for 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's incredible. Like, the man he is so gifted. He is so gifted. Yeah. So my next dominant color is yellow.
I thought so.
Yep. So I want to get things done, and then I need to go have fun.
I think that's why I've always been attracted to you and a friendship, because I am full blown yellow. And I'm
you are. I love yellows.
I am so just like, I need more yellow in my life. I need more yellow friends. Cause I need to up my yellow game. It hasn't been very up in the last 3.5, 4 years.
Yes. I go I go red, yellow, blue, white.
Yeah. Did you even score anything on white? Did you even score anything?
Actually, I have 2%.
2% white, yeah.
I know. 2%.
What that means
I was 56% red. 56% red.
Wow. That's awesome. I don't think I've done the percentage. I think I've just done where you get like one marking or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think you have to pay. I think you have to pay for like the full analysis. Yeah.
Oh,
but the one test is free. That just tells you your dominant color. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We realized that if you answered 25 questions and only one of them you were white, then that would be 4%. So out of 25 questions, you wouldn't have still answered anything white. I just wanted to point that out.
There's more than 25. There's a lot. Yeah. A lot of questions. But yeah, I'm yellow, blue, I think white. And then red. Yeah. But I have seen red like really come out when I need it. I think that's part of the feistiness in me, is that red saying, no, I'm bigger than you think.
That is so true. Yeah. That is so true. It's like we're just like walking down this beautiful little winding path, and then bam, she's like, this is who I am. Roar.
Oh man, that makes me think of when just going through some experiences in life, not great experiences, and then really having that lioness come out in me, which is so hilarious because I'm actually a Leo. But we were at a concert in Juab County, and a country concert.
Was that Trace? That was Rodney Atkins?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting in the stand, and I don't even remember what the conversation was that I had with Seth, but we had been married 7 years at the time. So almost 3 years ago. And Seth said something that that was one of those moments where it's like, bam, I said something back, and he was like, so Stephanie, is this how the next 7 years are going to go? And I was like, only if it has to.
He's like, okay. I know where to go now.
He's like, okay, good to know.
That's what we call a boundary.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Maybe that's partly why I've learned to love myself, is allowing the red to speak up when it needs to.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Developing like other colors is actually what makes us charactered.
Definitely.
Yeah. If we were only who we were born, like if we were only those qualities, we would never learn. Like you wouldn't learn because you would be stuck in your own, ways. Mm-hmm. But when we can learn and pull from those other colors, that's when we're really charactered.
Yes. Well, and just thinking back on my life, being told, I was super playful and fun and, bubbly like all the time. And, having some people tell me to not be that, I think stuffed that part of me. And, so sometimes I'm still working through this with a coach of It's okay to be who I am. It's okay to be that fun, bubbly person, even if other people aren't being fun, bubbly at the time or aren't accepting of that. Like if that's who I am and that's where I'm at, then I should be that. So for the longest time, I would take the color code test and it would come up white was my dominant.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think I've ever heard this story.
Yeah.
The big reveal right here, folks.
There we go.
This was the deep, dark secrets that we knew were going to come out.
But yeah, like I think it's because of just trauma, going through trauma. And then also having people tell me not to be who I am.
So just retracting.
Yes. And made me become more of a white personality when truly I wasn't. Not that I don't pull white when I need it, but that wasn't my dominant color, even though I kept testing that for the longest time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think every challenge, your colors, like for those who've read The Color Code by Taylor Hartman, right? They can change because it's not necessary. Sometimes you're looking at your response to your environment as opposed to the real deep inner personality that you have.
Who you really are.
Who you really are. And it all, again, it can change because of circumstances, because of maturity, because of different environment. But I think also, and Steph, you're talking about this, when you live in a safe place, then you have you're allowed to get into flow with who you are because it's accepted.
Not just allowed. When you're in a safe environment, you're encouraged to be who you are and be in that flow.
Yeah.
And what every person, what every woman needs to realize is you create your safe place. That's where it starts, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just going to go back to this. I'm an American woman trying to navigate the challenges of being a wife, mother, and business owner. Wow. Ashely Shepherd, thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. Honestly, I hope that there's just one woman out there that listens and says, like, I needed this. And if that's what we accomplished, then it was totally worth it. So thank you for having me.
And cut. It's a wrap.
Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for sharing this episode with that one friend who needs this conversation. Thank you for all the ratings, the reviews, the comments, and especially the support. We so appreciate you.
Now, if you want to take a peek behind the curtain and be the first to know about special previews, backstage updates here at the show, and especially some private collection content that doesn't come out in the regular show,
be sure to join our VIP community at theforeveryoungshow.com.